Hey, my loves, it's Tiffany, the Miracles Coach. It's been a minute for good reason. I've had a lot going on behind the scenes, but I was having this very interesting. It wasn't really a conversation because I was just leaving a voice note, but somebody asked me what I did and I was trying to explain it and I just could not. Now, I've been in business for 10 years and, we have all of these I help this person do this and I help this person do that. And when I was talking to this person, I was just like, I don't want to say any of that. I just don't care about fitting in a box anymore and being able to perfectly explain what I do to people. I'm a whole frequency. I'm a whole experience. Like, there's no way for me to box in what I do into some little 10-second intro for you to figure out exactly what I do. You'll still be confused more than likely, regardless of what I tell you. You have to experience me. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I had to learn about myself. This is something that I'm just recently No, I've known this for a very long time, because I want to say this is something I'm just recently realizing, but that's not true. I've known this for a very long time. It's just that when you're in this industry, you're forced almost. People tell you, you have to do this. You have to be able to explain what you do. You have to be able to say this. You have to be able to do it in this way. You have to be able to whatever. And I just decided one day that I don't really care about that stuff anymore. I don't care. I'm not going to do it. I just finished a lot of what I've been doing behind the scenes. One of the many things I've been doing behind the scenes is working on my sales page for the Miraculous Millionaire realm. And, one of the reasons why I got rid of my old website is because I had to do everything from scratch. I even have a new website system now. I have this whole thing where it has like 12 different themes and structures and tells you exactly what to do on the sales page. And most of that stuff I just deleted because I was just like, yeah, no. Here's what I want to say. I literally just started typing and saying what I wanted to say. And I just put my heart and soul into it. And that's what it is. I literally was just reading a sales page just now, something that I just bought. And I was just like, I love this sales page. It's cool. She says a lot of really good stuff, but it's just like, I'm not doing all of this. Like, I was just looking at it like, yeah, this is really good. And I think that this is what people say is required. And here's the thing. I'm not a marketer. I'm not great at business. I'm not some marketing guru that's out here teaching people how to market their business. That's not my area of expertise. All right. My area of expertise is teaching people how to remember who they are, helping people remember that they are one with source, helping people be one with source so that they can create the life that they know they're meant to have. That's my area of expertise. So me trying to come out here and be a marketer. And here's the thing. Back in one of the surrender days, I can't remember which day it is, but I talked about terms and conditions. I'd say it's probably like day 3. That's probably where it would make the most sense for it to be. And I think day 3 has 2 parts. So one of the parts, I talk about terms and conditions. I learned from one of my mentors back in 2016. He was just talking about the terms and conditions of your life and how you get to decide what they are. Right? And in my case, God and I decide together. We decide what the terms and conditions are. So it's almost like there's a part of me that feels like I have a conversation with God and I say, God, this is what I want to do and this is what I'm not willing to do kind of thing. I could say that, but I don't really even think that that's what it is. I think it's more like I think that I'm going to follow the rules, which is ridiculous in itself because I'm not a rule follower. I'm a rule breaker. I don't follow rules, but I'm going to try to do all the things that make me a good coach, that make me a good marketer, that make me a good content creator, that make me a good whatever hat I want to put on today. And then I think what it is that God shuts it down and it's just like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. This is what you're going to do. God and I co-create together. We do everything together. So I just do what I feel guided to do, what I feel led to do. And so when I was talking to this person and I was trying to explain to them what I did, I was just like, I can't even tell you what I do. Like, I can't even tell you in a box of how I do things. I like to talk to people about God. I like to talk to people about remembering who they are. I like to talk to people about their identity and remembering their oneness with source. Like I said, so that they can live the life that they know they're meant to live. Because I guarantee you, any woman that's listening to me has had visions since she was a child of what her life should look like, what she wants to experience, what she knows is possible or could possibly believe is possible. Let's say that, because she may not know for sure that it's possible, because life, as we grow and as we move through this 3D reality, doesn't reflect to us what those visions look like. So we had all these ideas when we were a kid, and I'm going to do this by this age, and I'm going to have this by this age, and none of that stuff happens, and then you don't know what happened. You're just kind of like, where's the life that I thought I was supposed to be living at this age? And I think we just get to a point where we almost give up on that life. And I almost gave up on that life. I was that person, honestly, for a few years now. And in 2025, I just decided, you know what? No, I'm not going to give up on that life. This isn't what I want anymore. This isn't the life that I was meant to live. I know that God created me for something more than this. I'm going to go live that. And so that's basically, when it comes to what I do, I talk to people about that kind of stuff. And I literally just live my life in front of you. I be me in front of you. It's very difficult to explain, to articulate, right? Because it doesn't really make sense when you're speaking it out loud, but it's just what it is. Like, it's a frequency. It is an energy. It's an experience. I can't describe it any other way. And so that's just what I told her. And I don't even know if I had gotten it that eloquent when I was trying to explain it. It still was a hot mess, but I didn't care because I'm not here to impress people anymore. I'm not here to hope that you like the way I describe what I do. It's so funny because if I had had that conversation with her some time ago, I would have felt so stupid, or I probably would have went off and like tried to write some little thing so I could be less nervous. Like, let me organize my thoughts and make sure that I'm saying what sounds okay to say, or let me make sure that I'm explaining it right so she understands. And at the end of the day, when I really thought about it, and this is how I know I've changed so much, I didn't care. Whatever she thinks on the other end of what I said is what she's going to think. I can't control what she thinks about me. It's not my job to control what she thinks about me. It's my job to be me. And then people formulate their opinion based on that. I spent a lot of my life trying to please people. And, it's so funny because when I think about it, I'm like, if somebody were to ask me if I was a people pleaser, or if somebody were to say, oh, you're a people pleaser, that would not even resonate with me. I'd be like, what do you mean? I would never be a people pleaser. Like, I do what I want to do. I say what I want to say. But no, I really had the people pleaser thing going on way more than I realized. Sometimes it's even subconscious. Like, sometimes it's just you're programmed to be a certain way, like from childhood. You have to dim yourself and dim yourself and dim yourself. And before you know it, you're just like, oh yeah, I'll just stay over here in the corner and stay small so I don't draw too much attention to myself, or so I don't make other people uncomfortable, or so people don't dislike me, or people don't think I'm this or think I'm that. And I had spent my entire life unconsciously feeling like that. Because I can't say that it was conscious. I'm not saying that those thoughts never come. I mean, I think we all have those thoughts from time to time where it's just like, oh, I don't know if this person likes me, or I want to be liked in this situation, whatever. I think we all go through those things. But at the end of the day, I feel like I just got to a point where I was just like, I don't care anymore. So when I come on here, I just share. And I'm going to start doing this more because I feel like I haven't been doing audios because I've just been really busy behind the scenes, but also because, like I told you guys a couple episodes ago, I started to get more selective about what I wanted to share because now Miracles Unscripted is public. When it was private, I could just get on just like this and literally start talking and not have any kind of subject matter on my mind or anything, had no idea what I was going to say. I'd just get on and talk. But I felt like, well, that's not good enough for YouTube. But that's silly because that was the whole point of making it public, because some of my most fire content comes out when I'm just doing this, when I'm just being me, when I'm just sharing. And I know that I needed to put this out. Like I needed to get this off my chest. I needed to let this fire out today, because after I left that voice message, I was so proud of myself because I didn't allow myself to get wrapped up into what this other person thought of me. I just said what I needed to say, and that was that. And like I said, whatever opinion she forms on the other end of that message is just the opinion that she forms. Okay, so I'm interrupting and making an edit here to share something important because, first of all, I recorded this. This was actually the first audio I recorded after my little break. I think I had been missing for, most of May or something. This I recorded in the beginning of June, and then I started recording some other audios, and they kind of made it to the cut first because I felt more excited about those, or I felt like the message was what I wanted to share at that time. But it's interesting because I even told you guys in the last audio that I had to edit on to the end of it because even though I had already recorded the message, it didn't feel complete and I needed to share more. And that's how I felt with this one. Like, I was practicing getting the fire out, and then I'll choose whether I want to post it or not. And sometimes there are other messages that I'll record and I'll be like, yeah, this definitely needs to go up like ASAP. But with this one, it didn't feel incomplete like the other one did necessarily. It was just like I wasn't sure that I was going to put it up. But now, weeks later, after I had another experience, now I feel like this one is complete because I want to add this in. And yeah, I know that I could probably just make new audios to do this, and it probably wouldn't hurt my channel because I'd be posting more. But I just feel like I like the messages to be complete when I'm sharing something. And so anyway, I was on a coaching call with my coach, and there were multiple calls that happened in this story that I'm about to tell you. But in a recent one, just like the other day, this week, I was on a call listening to a woman. And actually, I've heard this many times, but this woman was basically saying how she just couldn't figure out how to talk about what she does, right? And this is exactly what we're talking about in this audio. And I see this over and over and over again. And I'm so I have to be honest. I'm so freaking tired of this. And it's not the women that's the issue. It's the situation that really brilliant women, extraordinary, miraculous, gifted, talented, called, skilled, wise, anointed. It's just crazy to me. And these women have a fire in them that could literally set this world on fire. And every single one of them keeps trying to fit that fire into a 30-second reel or a post that isn't too long that people will get bored reading it. It's just insane to me. And here's the thing. Here's the actual truth that literally nobody, I feel like, is talking about. Maybe they are, but I don't spend enough time on social media to find out. But I just feel like social media doesn't have the capacity to hold you. That's what I had to learn about myself too. Social media is built for a hook, for a caption, for a clip, for a 30-second reel. Its purpose is so that somebody can scroll past it in 2 seconds. That's what it was designed for. And you are not that. You are a whole frequency. You are a whole experience. There is no version of you that fits inside a box that size. And every time you try to shrink yourself down to fit it, you're actually literally putting a fire hose on your fire. You're extinguishing it. And it's so funny to me because I love my coach because she does not play. And I watched her on a different call talking to this one woman, and she's getting coached by the coach, and they're talking back and forth. And this chick is a firecracker. Like, I mean, I loved her personality. She was very fiery, very real. She was talking about what was happening in her experience. So I guess whatever they were talking about, my coach asked what was her Instagram, and she went to her Instagram and was watching her reels. I guess she was saying she wasn't getting the traction. She wasn't getting the feedback that she wanted in her business. And she was like, let me see your Instagram. What's your handle? And she went and looked at it. And she was just like, who is this person? Who is this person that's talking on your Instagram? Because it's not you. And I agreed with her because the girl that was talking on that call, I actually went to her Instagram too. And they were not the same person. And it's what happens is I think when we get online, first of all, we got family over there. We got old classmates. We got friends, people who know us personally mixed in on our social medias and stuff like that. And obviously there's just a bunch of strangers and people we don't know. And we're trying to sound prim and proper, or we're trying to be careful. We're trying to make sure that we don't offend anybody, right? It literally sounds like people spend years learning exactly what they can and cannot say, and which words get you canceled and which ones keep you safe. And so you just stay in the safe zone instead of really speaking your truth and really speaking your zone of genius and letting people know who you are and what you truly do. It's really hard. I'm not saying that you can't be authentic on social media. I'm just saying that when you have to fit everything that you're trying to say into a caption and a hook and a 30-second reel, it just gets lost in translation. But the funny thing about that girl that I'm talking about, this was a while back, maybe a couple months ago. But then this week, in the same situation where I was talking about the other lady, this same person whose Instagram I went to look at when my coach went to go look at it. So now she's a guest speaker on the coach's call that I'm on. And I was blown away. Her story was, I don't even know how to explain it. And that's the funny thing, because when I listened to her story, I went to follow her and I was ready. I didn't follow her from seeing her on, when I saw her Instagram. But now that I got to experience her full frequency and who she truly was and her story and all of the things, that's what made me be wow, she is a powerhouse. And so what I'm trying to say is that when we allow ourselves to get shrunken down into these fractions of ourselves to appease the algorithm, it gets lost in translation. And I know what it feels like to bang your head against the wall, dealing with platforms that you pour your heart and soul into that just give you back nothing. I spent years doing this. It literally made me quit my business multiple times because I was just I can't do this. I'm not going to do this anymore. And then I realized there was a better way. But that posting every single day, showing up, trying to talk to people, trying to help people, trying to show people who you are and what you do and how you can help them. And it just feels like you're screaming into nothingness because there's no response. And the funny thing is that people tell you about this. Oh, it's going to take time and you got to keep going and you got to show up every day and you need to post 3 times a day and you need to make sure you're dancing on TikTok and you got to make sure you're doing all these things. But the crazy part is that nobody really tells you that the more you get ignored and the more you put yourself out there and get crickets, the more you start to take that in as something being wrong with you. You start thinking that you're not brilliant, that maybe you don't actually have anything worth saying. You're like, I must have been tripping to think that I was ever called to do this. I don't know enough yet. All of these people know more than me. All these people are doing better than me, because not only do you have the distractions and all the other crap going on social media, but you also have all of these people to compare yourself to now. And before you know it, you're taking that feedback from the algorithm as who you are. You're making it your identity. You're assuming that likes and follows mean you're good, and no likes and follows or crickets or whatever means you're not. And you start centering your worth around likes and follows instead of who you are and who God created you to be and who God called you to be and who God anointed you to be. That's the wild part about it. That's the part that should stop you in your tracks, because you're letting a system that can't see your heart or your power tell you whether you are powerful or gifted or chosen by the Most High to do this. God anointed you. God called you. God chose you. And you're out here letting the app decide whether that's true or not. And listen, I know that I'm saying you a lot. Trust me, I've been here, okay? I understand. And that's what I love about YouTube, if I'm being honest, because since I've been on YouTube, yes, I would like for the platform to grow, but I know that it comes over time. First of all, I've already reconciled with the fact that I know that YouTube is more like a slow burn. I know that it's not going to pop off overnight. I mean, it can, but I know that it's likely that it will take some time to grow. I'm okay with that. And I know that the more consistent you are on any platform, the more chance you have of things growing. But at the same time, I know that I can post on YouTube once a week and I can still gain traction. I know that people are likely to come back and watch a video if they've already watched one. I know that it's going to continue to show people my videos days, weeks, months after I recorded them. I Google stuff and have videos pop up from 7 years ago. And if it's the topic that I want and it's not something that's like super time sensitive, then I click on it. I don't care how old the video is. YouTube will continue to show you this. And it's actually interesting because I learned from a YouTuber that I learned a lot from before I started my YouTube channel. She was explaining how she basically quit her business and, burned everything to the ground for like a year. And she was saying how when she came back, she had nothing going on social media. She had lost a ton of followers. Obviously, none of her stuff was getting shown, no likes, no follows, nothing new going on her social media platform. However, she was still gaining subscribers on YouTube. Her videos were still being shown and watched. People were still buying the products that she was selling in the YouTube videos, even though she was not posting regularly. Now, granted, YouTube does reward you for continuing to post and being consistent and all of those things, but it's not required, because it'll still continue to show your stuff to people even when you're not still there posting. That's the crazy part. So let me say this. I think a lot of people think that they're facing a figure out the algorithm problem when really it's a container problem, because it's like pouring an ocean into a Solo cup and then being upset that it overflows every time. It's not meant to hold you. That's why I left, because I finally understood that this brilliance that I hold within, this fire that God placed inside of me, this anointing that I carry, needs to fully breathe and be what it is. And I can't force it into 30 seconds. It's not meant for that. I can't. When I decided to start my YouTube channel, it was because I knew that I needed room to breathe. I needed room to be who I was. I refused to try to water my message down into 30-second clips just to catch you on the right day. I know that YouTube is a platform where you're coming because you want long form content. You're not coming here to watch reels. YouTube lets you put shorts up there, but you're not here. I doubt that somebody who's coming to YouTube is just coming to watch a bunch of clips, a bunch of shorts back to back, because you can do that on any other platform. If you're on YouTube, you're probably here because you want to learn something. You're doing something. You have a specific purpose that you're here for, and not just a dopamine hit. And I know that what I bring to the table and the things that I know and share with people, it requires you being able to sit with me long enough to actually feel my energy, to feel what I'm saying, instead of just trying to catch a little piece of it between ads. Because you can't get to know me in a caption or in a hook. You have to experience me. And I feel like on YouTube, you get to do that. And this ain't, I didn't really expect this to be like a YouTube. Like, I'm not trying to boost YouTube, but I am in a sense, because it's just the truth. I think that you women out here, if you're listening to this and you are somebody who has been struggling to get attention or whatever you're looking for on social media, the reason why YouTube is better, in my opinion, is because you get to be fully self-expressed here. Because the people who are on social media, and no shade to the people on social media, it's fine, it's whatever. I don't spend time on social media, but that's my personal choice. But most people go on social media to scroll because they're bored, they want a dopamine hit, they're looking for something in particular, but they're not, it's a different vibe. So if you really want people who are ready to give you their attention and pay attention, then I would say YouTube is the spot. So here's what I want to say to the woman listening to this who has been trying to make herself smaller and shrink herself so the algorithm likes you better. So people don't get uncomfortable when you start speaking your truth. So nobody cancels you, or so TikTok doesn't take down your video. I was just watching a YouTuber that was saying that TikTok took down her video. It's just like, because they don't like truth. And hey, I don't know. I don't spend any time over there, but it's probably true. Stop editing your fire down to something that everybody else is comfortable with, because the actual issue is the container. It's not you or your fire. You're meant to do something extraordinary in the world. You're meant to share something amazing in the world. You are brilliant. I bet you're a genius at what you do. You just need people to see it, and they can't see it in a 30-second clip. So build somewhere where your fire has room to breathe. All right, that's all. Back to the rest of the audio. And so I think what God really wanted me to share today is just be you, be authentically, unapologetically you. Allow your light to shine, allow him to flow through you, allow yourself to just be who you are. And when it comes to this work that we do, right, because I believe that most of you who are listening to me probably do some sort of work like this. And I think we overthink it so much. I'm sorry, I got interrupted, but I wanted to make sure I came back and finished this message, because what I was saying was that in this industry, we overthink everything so much. As a matter of fact, the person I was talking to, I know she's brilliant. Like, I've followed this person for quite some time, and I know that she's a genius at what she does, right? And she basically was asking, would somebody be willing to have a conversation with me so that I can kind of figure out who I best serve? And it's interesting to me. I honestly never do market research. I never ask people. I did this early on in my business because it was how I was taught. But after a while, I realized, and it's not that I don't care what you want to know or learn, right? It's not that I don't care. It's just that I believe that God called me to do what I do because there's a need for what I do. There's a specific audience out here that needs what I do, or that would resonate with what I do, or would like what I do. So it's not that I need to find out what it is that you want before I can do what God is calling me to do. I just do what God is calling me to do, and the right people connect. The right people resonate. The right people jump in. It really is that simple. And I know it might sound crazy, and sometimes it feels crazy saying these things and talking to you about this stuff because, my audience is still so small. And I think there could be people that might be on the other end and they're just like, well, if this works so well, then why aren't you growing? Or why haven't you gotten bigger? Or why is this and why is that? What I know is that what I do works. And what I'm sharing with you works. And I know that even though my audience is small now, I know that that is changing, not about to change. It is changing currently because I know the promise. I know what God called me to do. I know what God told me. I know what the vision is, right? I know what I'm meant to do. I know where I'm headed, and I know who I am. Oof, that's the part right there. I know who I am, and I know whose I am. And I know that regardless of what things look like at any given moment, it can change in an instant. Miracles happen in moments. It doesn't take forever. Sometimes, like, for example, I lost everything in 2008. And in 2014, there was a gradual build over time as I got back into my relationship with God, and as I got back into just understanding who I was and realizing that those circumstances didn't define me. Remembering who I was, remembering who God created me to be, remembering who I belong to, right? Those are the things that made me who I am now. And it's what transformed my life in 2014. And it all started just from one thing. And we could say it took a year. We could say that. I could give it a year, but really within about 3 to 4 months, my life had drastically changed. And there were just things that were catching up. And it's exactly what's happening right now. So when I look at my audience now and I'm like, wow, my audience is still so small, I already know that that's about to change. I know that it has changed. In the 5D, in the supernatural realm where I exist, where this millionaire that I know God called me to be exists, like, obviously my audience would already be huge there. The thing is that when you're looking at life, you have to look at it from that space, from that vantage point. You can't look at things from, it's almost like when you know that you're called to be a butterfly. Granted, you might be a caterpillar and you might be on the ground today, but that doesn't mean that that's where you're meant to stay. So you have to look at things from the vantage point of the butterfly. Like, you have to think like a butterfly. You got to be like a butterfly. You get what I'm saying? That's all this is. And the more that we get this, the more that we get, like, who we are matters. Authenticity matters. Us being who we are, like you're already somebody amazing, extraordinary, miraculous. You're already the bomb. You're already that be. You're already her. You're already that. And when you learn to operate from that only and not from what you think you are now, like in other words, when you learn to operate from the butterfly's perspective instead of, oh, well, I'm just a caterpillar today, it doesn't matter. It does not matter because your DNA says I'm a butterfly. It's inevitable. There's no way that I cannot become that. And I think that's what I really want you guys to get today. Authenticity is the key. Being who you know God called you to be is the key. That is the key that unlocks the millions, that unlocks the miracles, that unlocks everything. And so, yeah, when I was talking to this person or whatever, I realized I don't have some perfectly set out message to give you. Like, this is who I am. And I just wanted to be me while I was talking to that person. And while I'm talking to you, I want to be me all the time. There's never a time that I don't want to be me. I just want to be who I am and do what I'm called to do. And I know that this industry puts a lot of pressure on us to feel like we have to perform in all these different ways. But at the end of the day, it is not necessary. And I'm going to keep standing by that and living by that and standing on that hill or whatever. I'm not going to change my mind about that because I get to choose what the terms and conditions are of my life. And the first time I did that, it paid off greatly for me. And every time ever since, I make the choice that I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that and I'm not going to do this. Like, for example, I was talking about the sales page. When I did the sales page, I wrote what I wanted to write. When I was looking at the sales page today, I bought the thing, but I would have bought it without it. I knew that I was sold on it before I read the sales page. I read sales pages because I actually enjoy reading people's words. I'm a word person. Like, I just love words. Words do something for me. So I love to read people's copy and to read what they're talking about and to read why they think this thing is going to work so well for me. But 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to click the sales page if I'm not already sold on the thing. It's rare that I click on something and don't buy it. Because I just know that when I click on it, I already want it. Whatever you're saying on the sales page doesn't matter. And that's the way I had to think about my sales page. You should be sold before you get there. If you're listening to me on YouTube, this is the message. I am the message. So everything that I do speaks the message. Everything that I do tells you whether or not working with me is for you. By the time you get to the sales page, you're likely already sold. You just know whether this is for you. Like the work that I do, you either know it's for you or you know it's not. You either love it or you're just like, I'm not feeling her. I don't know who this is. I don't like it. Or you're like, oh my God, who is this? I love her. I want more. Like, it's just typically one or the other. And I guess you could be kind of in between two and be like, yeah, I kind of like her. I don't know. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about it. But eventually you'll get there and you'll make a decision. Either you love it or you don't. There's really no in between. So we're doing all this extra work trying to sell people when really, if we just be who we are, they'll already be sold because that's what sells people. You being you. I don't know if that resonates with y'all. I just wanted to share it because I just felt like we do all of this work to impress people, to perform, to prove ourselves to people. And yeah, it's not necessary. The only person I'm trying to please is God. As long as I'm doing what God called me to do, I'm content in my life. And I know that whatever I'm working on, it'll get there. And there's no rush. It's not a race. I'm not in competition with anybody else. I don't care what the other person is doing. I'm not comparing my life or myself with anybody else because I know where I'm headed. I know who I am. I know whose I am. I know where I'm going. I know where I'm called to. And I think if we keep that in mind, if we keep that at the top of our minds, if we stay focused on that, if we stay tunnel vision on God and on who we are, whose we are, everything will fall into place. So I hope that helps. So yeah, if you made it this far, please like, subscribe, hit that little notification bell so you'll know next time I drop the next audio. And I love you guys so much. I will talk to you soon. Mwah. Lots of love and miracles.